Tifu, by buying my wife a sex book. Our sex life has been pretty boring for the 3 years we've been married. We are both on our second marriage. I'm a widower and she's divorced. My late wife was very adventurous and her first husband was vanilla missionary or nothing. Over lunch yesterday we talked about sex and how it's become mundane, with her admitting that she's only really ever felt comfortable with ordinary sex because that's all she's known. I suggested we get a book for her to read to get an idea of what she might like to try. So we went into town to the bookshop and bought a book which she spent the next 3 hours reading in the bath. Come bedtime, 9 PM unusually, I'm dragged to bed and set upon in very pleasurable way until about an hour and I feel fingers caressing my anus and perineum. Then a finger followed, and to my surprise the one and only vibrator, a small one we have, was pushed inside of me. Much pleasure was had until my wife gasped and started to sound worried. Behind me I felt a lot of fumbling. Wife was sounding worried, then just stopped and said sorry. I asked what had happened. The vibe had slipped, been pushed a little too far, and had gone all the way in. For the next hour we tried to excrete the thing and finally gave up, still buzzing inside. As we'd both had a drink, a taxi was booked, and a trip to R&D was made. It took only a few minutes with a speculum, lube and forceps to remove the then quiet vibe from me, and after promising to be more careful in future we return home. This morning I skipped my normal bike ride, and have sat gingerly at my desk. Wife just wandered in, and wondered if I'd like to get a bigger vibe, so it doesn't get stuck. I don't know what I've awakened. TLDR. Bought wife a sex book, and ended up in R&D with vibe stuck in my anus. Update. Thank you all. I once read the autobiography of an R&D doctor, and one day this man comes in. When asked what the trouble is, he starts to go on about how he was sitting naked on his sofa. His phone rang, and he sort of slipped. Sir, is there a phone up your rectum? There was, and he ended up needing surgery. A bigger vibe isn't the answer, unless you just want a bigger one. You need something with a flared base that's meant to avoid exactly what happened to you. You should never insert anything into the rectum that doesn't have a flared base. There are tons of toys marketed for play. You and your wife can fire up Google and find something that works for you. Have fun. Reminds me of a joke. You get to the doctor and he says 1,000 to remove it. You explain you don't have that much, and ask how much just to replace the battery? Isn't there a rule or something about things that go up your but having strings on them for that very reason? Ha ha ha. Lol. Good story. For future reference, sex toys with a flared base exist for this exact purpose. You can get them in lots of different sizes, vibrating and non-vibrating, and they are not expensive. Wife just wandered in and wondered if I'd like to get a bigger vibe so it doesn't get stuck. I don't know what I've awakened. Ah yeah. My wife does this every now and then with something bigger which is made for this kind of thing. Has a base and can be put into a strap-on harness. No way it's getting stuck up there. Being 5 minutes from a hospital is pretty convenient though. She likes the control sometimes. Doesn't happen often, but she gets into a mood. It's called pegging, by the way. There are a couple NSFW subs on here about the subject. What's the name of the book, by the way? Honey, I know last night was uncomfortable, but I found this pool cue, so I think we'll be fine tonight. You have to do a follow-up post to this in a year's time, so we can see what kind of freaky sex you guys are having by then. Go online and buy an safe vibe. It's not safe to use one that doesn't have a stopper. Have fun though. Way too many guys refuse the wonder that is the prostate. Next time, make sure you have plenty of lube and the toy either has a flared base, butt plug or similar or handle, and is intended for use. Otherwise, enjoy. Ha 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 ha. Should we get a bigger one so it doesn't get stuck? Oops. What's R&D? You buys wife a sex book. Your wife puts vibrator in your ass. You no. This isn't how you're supposed to play the game. I recently read a askreddit last month of someone who asked her doctors of the strangest things they have found in her anus, and so you're not alone, this has happened more times than you think. And not just with vibrators. Wow, she made a big leap from strictly missionary to suddenly fingering and impaling Uranus. My father-in-law was a doctor, just retired, and has really opened up. He was telling stories the other night and said every time he pulled something out of an ass or vagina everyone said the same thing. How'd that get in there? Without a base, without a trace. What's the name of the book? About an hour in. First of all, how dare you? Take it from a nurse who has seen countless items lost in rectums including shot glasses and PVC pipes. Never use an item without a base for bud stuff lol. Howard, I slipped and fell. Nurse, yeah, we got that a lot. Why does the dildo have balls? So it doesn't disappear in your ass. Op. Forps penetrative play you really need a flared base, T-base, or some sort of sturdy tie you can always be holding in order to stay safe. Just getting something bigger won't help. Make sure to use toys that are specifically safe for play. Source. Oops. I work in a big hospital, and the docs have a game in the R&D. Every time someone comes in with something in his rectal cavity and tells things like I slipped or I don't know how it got there, they spend $5 in the savings bank. The first time someone comes in and tells the truth like heaps like it to stick things up his ps, he will get the jackpot. So far there are a bit shy of $100 in there. One time I witnessed someone with a gigantic dildo inside him, and I was dumbfounded how much could be pressed inside his body. The doc asked if it was bad. The patient responded, at least it is not vibrating anymore. And this right here kids is why we buy toys specifically made for the anus forps play. Soon you'll be pegged. So you're saying that you have had boring sex for 3 years and that vibrator was pushed in just like that while you were surprised? How small was that thing? I never read these posts. Welp, you awakened her and now have what you wanted. Flared base for anything that's going in. Should be a pretty big flared base too. Okay dude. My wife and I started exploring this same thing a few years ago. My advice. Yes. Get a bigger vibe and get one designed for prostate massage. The male anus has a prostate which can be very pleasurable when played with. I'm glad you two were adventurous and open. Some additional advice. Get online and hunt for prostate massages as a couple. The hunt for the right toy was pretty sexy for my wife and I, and we had great sex the night we shot for it. Get some good lube. Lube made for ass play. It'll really be helpful to you. All is not lost. If you liked it, get a bigger one and better luck next time. The conversation with the doctor must have been so interesting. Shoulder just sat on toilet and pooped it out. Nature runs its course, hahaha. Hi, I'm Johnny Knockville and today we are going to butt dial people. If it doesn't have a handle or a string, don't put it in that thing. Flared base for anything going there. Safety 101. 2 words. Flanged base. Worth. Bigger vibe won't help. You need something with a flared base. Man, you gotta get one with a flared bottom. That's the funniest thing I've seen on Reddit ever. What in the ps is wrong with this world? Your wife will never respect you after ps her ass. You ups. That's cool though, that you two successfully fired things up, even though it didn't end well. Happy days going forward for you two, I'm sure. Pro tip. All butt toys must have a flared base. They'll be sold specifically as butt toys. If it makes you feel better, I'm confident that vibrator was either the least surprising or most surprising thing they found in someone's anus. Obviously the next step should be medical fetish. Accidents and emergencies for the non-Brits. Vibe check. 2 words. Butt plug. U/me tab. Hey man. I know you're probably not going to see this, but slip that bad boy into a condom next time. If the vibe happens to slip inside, you can then just use the condom to pull it back out again. Ideally you would buy a but play safe vibe with a flared base though. I don't know what the doctor will think if you are back with something bigger lost. Blame it on the wife. It was Op's idea to stick the vibrator up his ass. I'm reading this and wonder if people actually don't prepare for doing things out back. Don't know or don't care. Whenever I'm getting some action, being ps and all, it takes me 4 hours of preparation to feel comfortable doing it. If it's for ps play, always make sure it has some sort of stop. The anus is very good at sucking things up and not giving them back. Which is weird considering its main purpose. Lol. Well, TBF, it sounds like you liked it, so why not a bigger vibe so it doesn't get stuck? Half kidding, but get one with a bigger hilt if you really liked it. If you didn't like it, then communicate that with her and she needs to respect that. This went in a direction I wasn't expecting, and I'm stoked as long as you're consenting and having fun, that is. Flared base for anything going in the ass, or else it will get pinched in and won't be able to come out without help, as you now well know. Diameter of the outside part has to be bigger than the diameter of the inside part. I'm not into being on the receiving end of a splay, but my GF is, so we learned a lot of what works and what doesn't. Be safe. And if you aren't worried about latex condoms, coconut oil is amazing and very versatile and not very messy at all. Cheap and available almost anywhere. Oil-based products deteriorate latex, so it's a no-go if you use them. Of course, this is the UK. Where else would be to married men getting pegged by their wife with whom they can't please sexually be a norm? Is there a TIFW? Today it's one. Cause this is a swin. Congratulations. Do what you can to keep us updated on how well this works in your favor. Be careful what you wish for XD. Tell your wife the golden rule. If it doesn't have a base, don't put it in the butt. Plot twist. She got it stuck inside of you on purpose, so she could talk you into getting a bigger one. What was the book? What's the sex book called? Asking for a friend. And that's why you use a butt plug with a base. At least it felt good, right? I see you. Adam and Eve. Create the problem, sell the solution. Be careful what you ask for. The base needs to be flared, or your bum will just pull it in. Look for prostate vibrators. They have bases that keep them from getting sucked in. Never use a woman's vibrator because of this exact reason. You can even find them with remote controls. You want one with a flared base? Have fun. Make sure to use lube. Everything is better with lube, regardless of whether or not you need it. Couple more of these, and she'll be bringing home traffic cones. Okay, all jokes aside, I'm so happy you guys are exploring though. It's so thoughtful of her to suggest other ways to explore. Love this. I work as an interpreter in a call center, and one of the calls I received was that a guy had tripped over a plastic chair, and one of the legs went up his rectum. I guffawed through the majority of the call, after imagining how that went down, on mute of course. But then, after thinking about it, I guess I wouldn't wish that on anybody, not even my worst enemy. He sounded like he was extremely in pain. Make sure you buy something with a flared base or your hungry booty can't eat it up. Well, I'll be buggered. What you need is a flared base. That area of the body is basically a vacuum and will suck things up there. There are specific toys and you will notice that many have flared bases or some sort of a base. I worked as a radiographer, and when training, one of the first things a more experienced staff member said to me when I first saw this sort of thing was that people didn't realize that vaginas and bums are two very different areas, and so the trick was a flared base to prevent that from happening. If this is something you want to explore more of, get specific toys for that area. Not only for hygiene purposes, but because toys are specifically designed for that area and will prevent mishaps like this. Bravo, this made my day. The then quiet vibe. Even the vibrator was embarrassed. I don't know what I've awakened, but you're going to have a lot of fun finding out. Tifu by Sexy Sexing the Sex. This sub should be renamed Why I Went to the Emergency Room Unnecessarily. There is a very, very easy way to get out of your ass. I'm so jealous of your next few months. It took her 3 hours to come up with stick something in his ass. Did you not try squatting? I feel like this was a perfect opportunity to use the squatter potty. I'd say that's a lot more adventurous. And you got the vibe out. Win-win. R&D. Like the cable television network. There used to be an internet site called the Bud Page. It was one of the very first internet sites I visited. It was full of stories and x-ray images, all highly unethical, no doubt, of patients who had presented with things stuck up their bottoms. My two favorites were the unexploded shell and the quick dry cement. Doesn't being a widower imply you died? Oh boy. Innocent sex partners are very funny. This is so wonderful and OMG I love you too. R/ts. I heard that the muscles in your ass will suck it up cause they're stronger or something, and so that's why the plugs have the little stand looking thing around the sides. Flared base people. Flared base. That isn't a foo. That's to what Kaylee. Today I wakened the crane and I like it. Great piece of creative writing. What got me is the fact that from missionary only, it took just a book who buys books nowadays. For your wife to shove a dildo up your butt. Actually very surprising she owned one tbh. Good effort, but no publisher will touch this sort of tales. Lol, all you wanted was to put it in her butt and now the tables have turned. I'm glad this story didn't end with ops all over his wife. If she had that much inspiration with just a book, imagine how fun a catalog will be for her.